Kicks are coming.
Okay, so we are recording the session just put on YouTube later on, but the camera is just on the screen, so I think I've got one person on, so if you don't want to be on. So, how lovely is this space? Thank you very much, Jill and team, for hosting this morning. I don't know about the rest of you, but I've been in here a couple of times for different reasons, and it's never ever looked as cosy and welcoming and safe, actually.
Yeah, it does have a nice feel to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. So, so thank you for coming. I've got a register that I could just do to send round everybody. In fact, Amy, I can start with you. Round for me. Thank you. So, at Connecting WF is the Twitter account. Please feel free to tweet while you're here, hashtag ConnectingWF, take photos and what have you. Feel free to do that. So what we've been doing with these sessions up to this point, so we're actually at a year now of chairing Connecting Wakefield. It used to be called the Third Leaders Group. I say we, I've got an imaginary friend called Andy Freeman, who will be making more of a presence next year. But so we're celebrating our year of chairship, and we've been really pleased to welcome lots of different organisations across each of the meetings. So it's kind of gone from being the CEOs of the larger organisations to actually people who are delivering frontline and so on. So it's great to always see new faces, and you're always welcome. So we're just going to quickly go around the room. In fact, ask for just who you are and where you're from, quick speed intro, and then we'll get a chance just so that we know who's in the room, and then we'll go on to the main event, which our wonderful host team to let you know what goes on here. So Amy, go.
So I'm Amy Hardman from Featherstone Memories Foundation. So we're the charity affiliated to the Rugby Club, and we're doing lots of lovely things in the local community.
Thank you.
So I'm Rowan, and I'm the Adult Learning Service Manager for St George's Lupsit.
Thanks, Wayne.
I'm Jade, I'm Engagement Partnership Service Manager at Lupsit, St George's and Lupsit.
I'm Wayne from Disability Sport Yorkshire.
I'm Debbie, Strategic Health for Swift, working with Brown Care.
Hi, I'm Laurie Wood. I work for Yorkshire Learning Providers and I'm their apprenticeship liaison.
Hey everyone, I'm crisis support worker at Wakefield Safe Space.
I'm Jill Gaffrey, I'm the Wakefield Community Services Manager.
Hi, I'm Cass Alert, I'm the mental health worker based up at Pinderfield Hospital.
I'm Joe Nicholson, I'm from Turning Point Talk Therapies. If I've bothered you with an email recently about that, I do apologise. If you don't know about the event next week, come speak to me.
I'm Sandra Jones, I'm from Arts and Craft Therapy. That's the Wakefield movement.
I'm Susan, I'm the administrator for the Community Enablement Team.
Hi everyone, I'm Dave, Ops Director for Touchstone.
Hi, so I'm Hannah and I'm the Strategic Crisis Service Lead for Touchstone.
I'm Victoria, I'm an outreach worker for the Community Enablement Team at Touchstone.
Thank you. Oh, and I'm Paula Hamilton from Evergreen Active. I've got some new business cards done last week, so please feel free. They're lovely and glossy and colourful, so please feel free to grab one of those. Evergreen Active we encourage people to connect with others in their local community through physical activities, so that's walking, running, let's get cooking, exercise, dodgeball, whatever it might be. Evergreen Active, because it's kind of a cradle to grave offer. Last night alone we had almost 60 people out in Thorns Park, Holbury and Ossett, walking, running and learning to run on our Stage 3 running beginners training course. So that's how we do Wednesdays, and then lots more throughout the week. So without any further ado, we will head over to our first speaker.
So I won't introduce myself because I've already done that, but because we're here today to just talk about our Touchstone services in Wakefield, we just thought it'd be really beneficial to give you a little bit of background about Touchstone, if you weren't aware of who we are, and it is literally a whistle-stop tour because we want to hear about the Wakefield services. Are you aware of Touchstone? Have you heard of us? Know about us? You might after this. It's coming. Okay, so we set up in 1982, so we are 41 years old, and we set up in Beeston by 2 social workers. And basically what happened was 2 social workers came together because what they recognised was there was not enough mental health support for people from BME backgrounds. So it was kind of them coming together thinking, okay, what can we do? Now, I don't know if you know Beeston, but the chicken cottage in Beeston, the flat above is where it all started, which is opposite our now head office. So we're 41 years old, we've got lots of experience in lots of different services, which I'll go on to later. Currently, we are serving about 10,000 people across South and West Yorkshire from a total range of different services, but around 10,000 and approximately around 3,266 any given day in terms of what our services can offer. We have a total range of services. I think one of the things what I love about Touchstone is we can go from general population, raising awareness, challenging stigma, right through to that complex needs and complex care for mental health. So we've got over 50 services at the moment. We started off in Leeds. We've got a lot of services in Leeds, but we are slowly growing and venturing out, i.e. Wakefield, and we're now in 7 local authority areas. And if you've heard of West Yorkshire and South Yorkshire liaison and diversion, we're across them 2 patches. We have 20 different sites, so you're in our Wakey site today. So we've got lots of different sites for our services to be run from, or a place for our staff to locate. Partnership working is absolutely key for us. You know, what we want to do as an organisation is really strengthen what's available for communities. So working in collaboration, partnerships, and we're always seeking to kind of broaden our partnerships with other providers. And we've got a dozen plus diverse professions, so from mental health support workers, CBT therapists, psychological wellbeing practitioners, you know, we've got a total range of professions. So, what services to Touchstone? Now first we break this down into 5 different categories. We've got our community development, preventative and peer-led services. So a lot of this is about going into communities, community development and hearing what communities want, need and what's already there. Lots of stigma challenging, you know, we've got public health contracts, asset-based community development, we've got male-specific services. So in Leeds, we've currently got a massive kind of male service to look at that kind of suicide prevention, how we can reduce that, and just getting out and talking to guys in the local community. And neurodiversity services, you know, we're starting to see an increase in the need for neurodiversity, absolutely rightly so. So we started doing kind of a lot of peer support and co-production around neurodiversity. What do people want? What do people need? We then kind of go on to our community, so our mild and moderate needs services, very much community based. From that community development, okay, what we're going to do about it, what we're going to put on, what do people want and need. So we'll do that. We've also got some specific services in Leeds around the Sikh Elders services and our BME dementia services. What I will say is Touchstone as an organisation, very heavily involved in looking at marginalised groups. These are our current only specific services because commissioners, as we know, very much generic. We've managed to keep on to these 2 specifics because the need is absolutely great and we need to be able to provide that. From our community mild to moderate, we then go on to our clinical community. So primary care, talking therapies across Leeds, if you've heard of Leeds Mental Wellbeing Service, we've got a great involvement with that. And then I've also put kind of our peer support service for FGM on there. You know, we can go really specific into what the community needs. We've got the skills, we've got the staff base to be able to do that. And that's part of Blossom, if you've heard of Blossom. Our 4th one is our intensive support needs. So this is where Wakefield starts to come in, where we kind of start building a presence. We've got support, peer support services on wards. looking at that kind of rehab, really supporting individuals. One thing about Touchstone is we're a massive, massive believer in peer support, so wherever possible we'll try and build peer support teams to kind of support that therapeutic intervention. We have our community support teams, so you know about providing individuals with that intensive support that they need for their kind of recovery journey. This can range from a total range of things, from housing, benefit support, and kind of linking in with the community. We do housing support for people with really complex needs, so we'll support them with tenancies, independent living skills, and then hopefully identify move-ons wherever possible. We're part of CRIS and Leeds, if you've heard of CRIS, so the crisis resolution, supporting people within 24 hours over a 6 to 8 week period. Once again, peer support service. We've got specific services around domestic violence. We have a specific LGBTQIA+ service within Leeds to really give that tailored support, you know, from that community development, what do people want, and we're really able to tailor services to support communities. And I'm not going to talk about alternative crisis support, because I believe Alana will be showcasing that for us. And I've already mentioned about our intensive support needs in terms of L&D. So, you know, in that criminal justice system, what can we do, what support can we offer when mental health is highlighted? One thing that I think is really special about Touchstone, I've joined them I'm coming up to 2 years. Representation of communities is absolutely key to us. We work over a really diverse area, and what we really want to do is make sure that we're in the community. So I just kind of wanted to highlight that 72% of our workforce are women, 34% are from B&B backgrounds, 23% from LGB, 11% disabled, 8% non-binary, trans or other gender identity, quarter come from diverse faith backgrounds, and one thing that we, really kind of encourage people with lived experience to come into our services, and support the communities. So that kind of lived experience and representation is absolutely massive for us as an organisation.
That picture's great.
You just got to come.
How do I go back? Do that one.
I'm thinking, that's the CEO at the bottom. Yeah, with the pink feather boas just on his head. Yeah, I'm just looking at different people. Yeah, it's a great picture, that.
Oh, we have lots of fun.
That's one of our ways,
whilst
I
we're
think.
doing it.
Yeah.
I
didn't know until this morning. I'm like, thank you, Dave, that's great.
But just in terms of our values, I'm not going to go through them all, but I just wanted to kind of pull out some key ones for Touchstone as an organisation. They're all important. Inclusion and diversity, absolutely key. In any of our services, we want to break down them barriers wherever possible for people to access and get the support they need in a timely manner. And the last one I just want to discuss is co-production. We need that service user voice to shape our services. It is absolutely essential to us, and we kind of really invest heavily as an organisation in co-production. So for example, yesterday, I don't want to take it away from Hannah, but we had a massive co-production event to look at the naming of Safe Spaces, which is our crisis alternative provision. We need that input. So co-production is massive for us as an organisation, because that voice is absolutely key for us. And with that lovely photo, that leads us very nicely onto
Thank you. Yeah, you can change coming out. So it's just going to be sort of 5 minutes, just a bit of information about our new service, which is the Community Enablement Team. We started operating at the beginning of September, so very new. There's been lots happening behind the scenes beforehand, but yeah, started taking referrals 4 weeks ago. So, we put this on just because we kind of like the idea of it's embedded in the name of the service, really, which it is all about enabling people to do things for themselves and make those things possible. So it will be just covering these things, just so that people are aware of the kind of things that we do, what the aims are, who it's for, what kind of things we can offer, and obviously how you can refer, and whether it's appropriate for you to refer to us, but also hopefully when everyone leaves today, for us to have more knowledge around the things that you do as well, because there'll probably be people that we come across that we can refer on to and connect people into that's already in the community. So the aims of the service are these three key areas really, because it was recognised that the community-based provision in Wakefield, that there was a gap. So looking at readmissions to hospital, preventing people from going to A&E, crisis services, those people with complex needs, enabling people to retain their tenancy and home as much as possible and that independence within that. And if you have complex mental health, that can be extremely difficult. So people within any of these areas looking at improving outcomes for people who might have come under some of these categories really. So who is the service for? 16 plus, we were quite keen that we would try and capture that transitional age from 16 plus. Complex needs, enabling people to access community-based activities, and looking at those three key areas that I've just mentioned. The people who probably wouldn't be suitable for us to support, the people who are needing crisis support, need acute mental health support, or if we're not able to support people safely on a one-to-one with our staff, the outreach workers will be working with people on a one-to-one in the homes or in the community, so we might not be suitable service for those people that require more support than that. So what do we offer? Very, very broad, and I think the key thing here really is working quite closely with that person right from the start to understand, you know, what's important to that person, what are the key areas that they feel will help them, being very recovery focused, person centred, and looking at, I mean, they're very broad areas there, but it would be really teasing out with that person from the start. What is it that's going to help that person? How can we do that? And enabling that person to do those things. So, you know, making a plan together, how we engage with things in the community, what's that person's strengths, what motivates that person, what do they enjoy doing. You tend to find that once that person is connected in something, it can have quite a nice ripple effect on different areas of their life, but also working quite closely alongside other key partners really. Who are some of these people here? So we've spent quite a bit of time trying to connect with people over the past few months, getting out there, meeting people. So we have obviously the community enablement team, and we have one of our members of staff who works in the complex needs team, which is Kath, up at Pinderfield, and then the Wakefield Safe Space Service. So it's trying to triangulate some of that really, but also working alongside primary and secondary care services and potentially other third sector organisations who might be key. It could be housing providers, probation, other community organisations and third sectors such as some of the people that are here today. We'll have a direct referral pathway really from people who are identified who come into maybe the crisis service, or who come into the complex needs team at Pinderfield, or who are currently working with people that are at CMHT or in primary care. And we've already had, I think 50% of the referrals have come from the complex needs team, which is great. Thank you, Kath. Very busy up there, and the rest have come from primary and secondary care, which is brilliant. This is just, I think I quite like the picture of it, just a visual really, to see how we're kind of hoping to connect people in a number of these areas. You know, the staff will be working, going out and visiting people each week, but really supporting people to connect with any assets that are available in the community. What assets has that person got? Who do they already connect with? What else could we maybe support them to connect with as well? It's just examples of, and there are so many amazing things going on in the district. I knew Leeds had a lot going on. I'm quite new to working in Wakefield, although I do live in Wakefield, but there's so many amazing things happening, so I think we'll be quite keen supporting people to be aware of what's happening and hoping, you know, connecting people to that really. So how can we refer? So there is, on the website, there is a referral form, but what I would say to people is can pick up the phone and give me a ring just to talk through any potential referrals, whether that is relevant or not. You know, people might come into some of your services that you think there's maybe a lot more going on here, you know, are they relevant? It might be a phone call. For us as a team, it's about us recognising what's out there in the community and thinking, okay, how can we connect this person potentially moving on from our service and maybe supporting that transition as well. So we're not accepting self-referrals, and we're currently not going to hold a waiting list, and the reason we're not going to do that is when people are sat on a waiting list, we tend to find that somebody's referred, they're sat on a waiting list, they're not being supported by anybody. So we're not going to hold a waiting list, so hopefully picking up referrals at the point that people are in need of that service. We can work with people initially for a period of 3 months and reviewing it every 3 months and seeing you know, if we're still on track, what are the outcomes that we're hoping to achieve, and what is relevant moving forward, you know, what are we kind of moving in the right direction with people. Is there any questions? I just like this slide, which I think is very relevant in terms of the people that we work with. You know, people, sometimes it can feel it's just a massive, there's all of these issues, it's just so big to try and think about, but it's just breaking it down and just those first steps for people really that I think are just so important. Is there any questions? Kath, do you want to just come and just talk, or just a couple of, just about what you do and how we kind of connect together really?
Thank you, Jo. Will you send me these slides?
So I'm based up at Wakefield Hospital within the complex needs team. I sit alongside the liaison nurses and I visit patients on the wards. So the nurses would initially refer them to me if they think that that patient may need some support. So I will go down, explain who I am, make it very clear to them that I am not clinical, I am not part of the NHS, to initially break down those barriers so that we can have a general conversation about them and their well-being, not talking about the clinical stuff with them. So whilst they're in the hospital, I will continue to see them until they're planned for their discharge. Once they are planned for the discharge, then I will continue to support them into the community, follow-up calls, couple of visits, and look to signpost, this is the first service I will signpost to. If they are not suitable for this service, then I will signpost to another service that fits their needs. I primarily work along in Wakefield district, but it doesn't mean that I can't support those that don't live outside the Wakefield district. So I will still do a follow-up call with that individual, go and visit them if that's necessary, or we'll just try and signpost them and get them engaged in services in their community. So the whole purpose of me being based at Pinderfields is to prevent that readmission into the wards, especially those that repeated ODs and self-harming behaviours. So I will link in quite closely with the psychiatric liaison team, because they're based on the acute ward where most patients will come in, so they will see them initially. So if they have decided that they're going to close that individual or that patient's case, there's an opportunity for me to kind of pick that individual up. So I am going to be joining their team meeting next week to explain my role and how we can work in partnership together. I'm not there to step on anybody's toes, and look at how that they can use a safe space as another alternative to signposting the patients to. So basically I am there to bridge the gap between the hospital and the community and prevent the readmission into the hospital. That's it.
Brilliant,
Very
thank
good.
you, Kath. Alana, would you like to just talk about safe space?
Yeah, so I'm one of the crisis support workers at Wakefield Safe Space. We were commissioned to, again, take pressure off the NHS and stop people admitting into A&E as well. We're a nightly crisis service as well. We recognise there's a gap in nighttime support for people that were struggling with their mental health as well. So we actually open at 6 o'clock and we can take referrals both from professionals, but we can also take self-referrals as well, so no one needs to be in services to access our service as well, so obviously we can reach more people in the community as well. We also provide one-to-one support, but also social space support as well. We recognise that sometimes people might be in other services, they might not want to talk about what's going on, but they just need somewhere safe to go for the night. So we have a lot of different support workers as well that will work on a nightly basis with individuals or in the social space. We also, when we're in the social space as well, we do a lot of activities like colouring, drawing, loads of different things. We also provide food as well for people, so obviously all the refreshments over there. So it's just a nice space for people to come to between 6 and 12. We do take referrals from 6 till 7 primarily, but we can take referrals all the way up till 10:30 as well. We just can't support anyone after 10:30 because we just want to make sure that people are safe for the night, but they can access the social from 6 till 12 if that's something that they want to do as well. We are open 7 days a week, so we're not closing any days, so weekends completely fine with us. If anyone has any questions as well, just let us know.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I think just off the back of that Alana's just sort of spoke up, sorry, that sounds terrible practices, is in terms of how we link as a service with sort of third sector and people that are here in this room today, is obviously we do, as you could probably tell looking around this building, quite a lot of arts, crafts, things that provide a distraction technique, improve people's ability to cope with crisis and better manage their own emotions and recognise when they are sort of escalating. And the whole point of that is just sort of being that alternative option so that A&E isn't always that first point of call, and hopefully then self-harm and suicide isn't a point of call for those people either. So it is looking at that preventative side. But within that we are thinking around, you know, how we can work and signpost people to their own interests, because it is a person-centred based care. So I know we have individuals that we signpost things like Richmond Fellowship, we've signposted people into Evergreen to look at physical health and how that improves their mental health. We are looking at working with people to develop our beautiful outdoor space, which now it's actually stopped raining, you can probably go have a look at after, and look at some sort of ground to fork initiatives, because as well as sort of little refreshments and things, we actually do provide a home cooked meal, which for a lot of the people we support that are facing things like potential homelessness, feeling a lack of self-worth, really down and struggling, actually getting that motivation to cook yourself a meal, or if you can afford to cook yourself a meal with how things are at the moment, it's just not possible. So if you do have people that come to your groups and you are seeing that person, you're thinking something's going on, doesn't quite sit right, by all means give them our number and they can give us a ring. I would say for here in particular, 95% of the girls we get are from people, and we want to be that place that feels safe for everyone to come to when they don't know where else to turn. And it is often that bit, and I know last night's a good example. It's that 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, sat scrolling on your phone, your thoughts are racing, I don't know where else to go. And that's when we're that service. So please just, you know, feel free, pass our number on. And if when we're updating all our comments and stuff at the moment, and we've got everything in place, I'll be sure to send it all out to everyone. Any questions for any of us on the touchstone stuff? Because I feel like we spoke for ages.
There's a lot. So who funds the hours of one-to-one for somebody? They don't have to have a social services assessment or be eligible for support in any way at all?
No, they don't have to have like an individual budget, no. So it's all part of how we're commissioned. Yeah, so they don't have to have individual budgets. Yeah, for that.
Would it have to be commissioned in any way though to that person?
No, not the individual.
Just the service.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I mean, I didn't realise that was so much that you were all
from here.
so much. Yeah, it's fantastic. It's really helpful to know. I mean, do you have a capacity? What kind of numbers would you typically get on any given evening or week?
It can really vary. It does, as you can imagine, it does tend to creep up towards the weekend.
Yeah.
And weekends in particular, so Friday, Saturday, Sunday nights are a lot busier than during the week, and that is as soon as statutory services close, people are, you know, unsure where to turn and struggling to cope and might not have that connection to a work that typically would work Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. Generally speaking, in this space, when we are fully staffed, we can support sort of 10 to 12 individuals a night. So that'd be 6 individuals in this room, which is what we use for our social space, and sort of 3 to 4 one-to-ones, which are 45 minutes in length. We do predominantly do them face-to-face, but for sort of unique or specific needs, so you know, if people have got young children at home that are in bed, they might only be able to take a phone call. If it's things around, you know, probation and bail conditions, which means you can't leave the house at a certain time, or people with things like phobia and social anxiety, we can do phone support, but we are mainly face-to-face support, because it is all about that social connectivity and getting people that difference of just human contacts. So yeah.
You provide taxis, don't you?
Yeah, we do. So as part of our funding, we do have budget to provide taxis for people and we cover the cost if they can't get transport here. So a lot of people can often get themselves here, but obviously if you're here till after sort of 10 o'clock at night, and we know Wakefield public transport isn't the greatest and the most connected to all of our wide district, then yeah, we sort the taxis for people to get home safely.
And have you seen trends, excuse me, like, not a trigger trend isn't the right phrase, but cost of living, for example, have you seen kind of spikes related to certain themes?
I think Alarm's the best place to sort of answer that, aren't you?
Yeah, well, we see so many different people from such a big age group, so depending on the people that we see, there's so many different stuff. Obviously, we had a lot of stuff around COVID-19, and people having social anxiety after that, and I think the aftermath of that has been going on for a lot longer than people expected. We have had probably a lot around finance at the moment since all the cost of living stuff did happen and things have started to go up in price. We've seen a lot more people needing to access things like food banks and again coming to us because they don't know where else to go and where else to turn to. So we do support people around that, and housing as well has been a thing at the moment, people wanting housing. So if anyone does have more links to housing, we'd love to signpost people as well.
Okay. And are you connected with all the food banks and food pantries and what have you across the district?
So Elizabeth, who some of you may have met, who is our daytime worker, is connecting in with a lot of those. But as you can imagine, trying for us as quite a small team, particularly on an evening, trying to gather that information of who's where and when, and it changes so frequently, it's really difficult. So yeah, we do kind of have a few key contacts. So yeah, if somebody that we know has got a key contact in a specific area, you probably will get a few phone calls and emails from us going, can you put us in touch with the right service or the right person in this area? Because we just can't, we can't keep up with that.
Yeah, and I think you know, that is the whole point of these meetings. It really is to learn about, because we're none of us massive, you know, we're sort of all you know, sort of stretched and reliant on staff, volunteers and what have you. So it is that, you know, the better connected we all are, the more efficient we can all be, you know, sort of by connecting up and knowing what's going on where and what support you need, and you knowing, you know, kind of what's out there to refer to once, you know, sort of you've
the Connect to Support Wakefield.
Yes.
She presented, didn't she?
She did.
Yeah, it is quite good.
Do you all know about Connect to Support?
Yeah, the website, it is, this is good.
So Connect to Support is, in fact, are you, have you got the Wi-Fi? Quickly go on to
I don't know
Google.
what is on that laptop, so.
Things, do you want me to just take us down?
So it's a lady called Julia Charlton at Wakefield Council, who's heading this up, and I think she was kind of given some time to trial it. Yes, to kind of bring it back to life, absolutely. Which she's done, and now she's been given extra funding and staff, I think, as well, hasn't she, to kind of maintain it. So it's basically a website that you can access. You can upload your services to it and events, so specific events that you might be holding. Obviously, it's up to you to manage that.
Yeah, it's not going to connect to
show it on the actual screen for some reason.
No.
Show your browser.
Don't worry, I can put the link in the follow-up. But it's called Connect to Support. You can't. It's a Wakefield Council thing. You can just Google it. Like I say, you can then, like I say, upload your information, your sessions, times. If they're time specific, you can put that in. Obviously, you then have to go in and kind of close it off when you're done. But I think they're on a mission to sort of advertise that more widely, to be a central point that anybody can access. So it's about offering care, so people will go on to it to find what members of the public will go on to it to find what services they can access for their specific circumstance. But obviously, the more that's on there, you know, sort of the more they'll know about.
When I had a look, you can filter, which is really quite useful for postcode areas, interests, so you can kind of select different things that you think might be appropriate with that person. Sit with them and say, okay, so I live in WF12, I'm interested in this, I might need some home support, I'm interested in this, and it will bring up all the different services. So it is really good. It is really good, and yeah, they've done a lot of work on it.
We touched on perspective, your presentation at the beginning, talked about sort of being communities and work that you're doing in Leeds. Have you started that in Wakefield area?
Not yet. Not in the same sort of very specific kind of way. Obviously, our services will support people from a full range of backgrounds, and we do, but we don't have a very specific offer in this area yet. It is something we are potentially looking at as maybe a night within our service, but like I say, that's all kind of a bit further down the line at the moment.
Just one of my colleagues, Zafina's gone into a secondment role for 6 months, and she's looking at marginalised groups and looking at people with learning disabilities, though, in paying communities. So I just wonder whether we could connect. To do something on Use Your Space if she was going to set up a group or anything.
Okay.
I think that, the word Hannah used, yes, absolutely. We're starting to get feedback from people that access our services wanting to explore it a little bit further, especially around kind of BME. So what we are looking at setting up is a kind of workshop to look at, okay, how can we make this work for everyone? Is it kind of a separate night? Is it more representation? So I think it'd be great if we could get your colleague along to that to input really, and anything we can do to support that'd be brilliant.
And your other criminal justice sort of services that you have in Leeds, do you have that here as well?
So we do a presence in Wakefield. Yeah.
They're at Normanton, I think, yeah. They're at Normanton Town Hall, that the L&D service up there.
Do you work with Joe Baldwin then?
Don't know, we're not involved in the L&D service specifically.
I can find out for you that Sophie, my peer, has the L&D services.
It's just Joe works for Swift, but does sort of diversion custody sort of work for people with learning disabilities. And
Good contact.
Connected.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Do you also know Amina from One Umar Community? Well, no, I'll put you in touch with them then as well. She works with women and families from Sudan, Syria and Morocco.
That'd be a really good contact.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Right, well thank you very much. So has anybody got kind of services or sessions or anything that you think would be good to connect up and share with these guys for referral pathways or anything like that?
Yes.
Good.
Hello, there was a folder somewhere, so I've got some kind of posters in it.
Is this yours?
Yeah, just as a way of giving them out. I'm not going to go around the room right now.
Do you want to put them with my business cards?
I have put
Yeah.
some on the table there.
All right, okay, brilliant.
Please help yourself to anything.
As I mentioned earlier, I'm from Turning Point Talking Therapies, so I'm the community development team leader, and we're hosting an event next week on Tuesday at Pontefract Town Hall. I have bugged a lot of people about it already. But for those that haven't heard about it, please do kind of contact us. So if you want to be involved in some way, whether that's coming along, just to network with people, there's opportunities for that. Or if you want to have a stall, I know some of you do already, that's fantastic. Then there's that opportunity as well still. There are limited places. We're hosting a bit of a bake-off as well. There's a special judge that's going to be there from the Great British Bake Off. It's not Paul. It's not.
That was my question.
Can you cancel my stall?
It's a contestant.
I'm busy.
It's a contestant. And then also we're doing a couple of workshops that day that are open to the public. But anybody from different services can join as well. Again, places will be kind of limited for that. We're pushing the links as much as possible, but I know that people will turn up on the day and just kind of expect to be seated, and we'll accommodate for that as much as possible. But
can they take a guess? Will she have her latest book there to sign?
she will. Yeah, you know her name, don't you? No, Karen. Yeah. Yeah. It's Karen Wright. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of plug that. Additionally to the event, if anybody obviously wants to get in contact about the services that we offer, the one-to-one therapy, the group therapy, online and workshops as well, then you can contact us and we can talk about that a little bit more. It's 16 plus, so anybody above the age of 16 within the Wakefield district we offer the service to. But yeah, there's some leaflets on there about the event. That's it.
Brilliant, thanks, Joe. Is everyone aware of the Positive Mental Health Network as well? Know about them. So they are kind of it's kind of not really known what its purpose was, I don't think, until recently. Again, kind of Rachel Hale from Nova is chairing, along with Bridget Gill from Spectrum and Tracy Leach from Wakefield Council. I'm going to make the meetings a little bit more purposeful, I'm going to say. But basically, we had Joe Cochrane from Wakefield Council speak at the last meeting as well. If you're working within the mental health realm, he is collating stats of the impact that the work being done is having on mental health improvement across the district. So again, I'm more than happy to add his email address into the follow-up email as well if anybody wants to contact him. But so the Positive Mental Health Network is aiming to form strategy or help the Mental Health Alliance form strategy, future strategy for help and improvement across the district going forward. So if you do want to be involved in those meetings, I think again they're going to be quarterly, but there is another one in November, but I can give that date as well where the location is. So if anybody wants to be involved in that, let me know and I'll pop your name down to make sure you get those details. Public Health Network, what else? Can I just go back onto the PowerPoint and see what else I was going to mention? No, it's fine, thank you. So yeah, VCSE Voices, there was going to be Maddie Franz, I'm right in front of that. Maddie Franz from Blossom was going to be here, she's one of the VCSE advocates. Is anybody else a VCSE advocate through Nova? So basically again, Nova have places available for third sector organisations to sit on the panels and boards across Wakefield, so it's like Wakefield Health and Wellbeing, could be safeguarding, it could be children and young people. There's a whole variety of boards that are going on, and the idea is that third sector organisations have a seat at those tables to inform council of the wonderful work that we're all doing, but to feed up to them, but also to feed back what strategies and workshops and objectives and what have you all of these panels have. And apparently when Nova asked somebody at Wakefield Council for a list of all the strategic boards that there were across the district, they weren't able to tell them all of them. So yeah, so again, probably some duplication going on, but if you're interested in being on one of those boards. Have a look at the Nova website. The current vacancies are listed there that might be of interest to somebody here. And then, what else was I going to say? Positive mental health. Co-production community of practice workshops. There was one held last week at St Mary's Community Centre. I don't know if anybody were there. So again, really a big co-production event to do what we're all trying to do really, avoid duplication, work better together, collaborate more, and just really be effective deliverers of those health and wellbeing objectives across the district. So if you want details of that, let me know. And also Women of West Yorkshire, don't know if it's quite a new networking group that's hosted by Tracy Bravin, Mayor of West Yorkshire, and Alison Lowe, her deputy. The first one was at Tyler Yard North on one day before today, this week, I can't remember, I was there. But a really cross-sector group of women across West Yorkshire, all sectors, but just a really empowering environment, really supportive environment, you know, kind of showcasing again the work that's going on. And obviously, if you don't already know, Mayor of West Yorkshire funds those sector organisations, they're very supportive of us lot. And I think there's a new campaign just being launched to help, to empower men and boys really to call out, we won't call it low level abusive behaviour, but the kind of behaviour that we just let go every day because it's so commonplace, you know, the kind of stuff that happens in public spaces that doesn't get reported because we're all so used to it, but actually kind of tackling that at that level could really, really help prevention of more serious violence and abuse. So if you want to be part of any of that, and I think if you keep your eyes open, there might be something coming next month, some funding to support that campaign as well, so keep your eyes on that. So yeah, that's my little kind of awareness bit. So we've got 25 minutes, which is great, to chat some more, just chat amongst yourselves. If you've heard anything of interest that you want more information on, make a beeline for that person. Plenty of refreshments left around the corner there. So thank you very much. Yes? Yeah.
I don't know if you talked a lot about co-production or peer leadership and people. There is a course, I don't know whether people have done it, the peer leadership, so there's a NHS Future Learn. So you can do a course that's an e-learning sort of a course for the first 2 modules that helps you navigate sort of the changing landscape of the NHS and services and social prescribers and all the hours roles and things. I mean, it's quite good for people and it's quite empowering to know how to navigate it. If you've had a problem or if you've got a long-term health condition and you're wanting to change things, it gives you the skills to be on the board and to present your things. So, as I said, that funding is still available for until 2025, I think it is.
Where would you find that? Just Google it.
I can send you it.
Yes,
I can send you a link to put on it.
Lovely.
Is that the site that's used for a lot of the e-learning for NHS stuff?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, there's so many.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it is the exact one, but yeah, it is a peer leadership course. But yes, I'm doing it with a gentleman with learning disabilities at the moment, and it's helping him sort of advocate for people with learning disabilities and build his confidence.
That sounds amazing. Thank you.
It'd be probably good to hear if there's an update from people that are here about key things that are happening.
Absolutely.
So I'm just thinking, yeah, what's happening with other people's services, some other people that maybe haven't had opportunity to kind of tell us really who have come.
Does
If
everybody
anybody
want
wants to do that?
kind of just stand up, walk around the room, and come back and sit down, and we'll go for that, because I think sometimes it's quite nice and warm in here, isn't it? And so if everyone just wants to get up and
Yes, do that in person because you've got a Twitter handle. Do you feel comfortable to have a group photo?
Absolutely.
Is that okay? Yeah. Just stand up and I won't get you in.
Well, come and stand in Romeo. Come and stand next to me.
Oh, so you can sit here.
Are we ready? Big smiles, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll put your
Is it okay
Oh, no, I was just trying to do the last few points that you went through. Where you were sending out any follow up about that.
Yeah.
The men and the boys campaign and stuff like that. Thank you.
I just thought with all the cutbacks, years ago, there would have been the provision of so when you start
They are.
No, I appreciate that. It's really
Staff that are working for our
I often think that I just want people to be asking for and they were prepared to negotiate for the hours. And when they left the room, nobody else was willing to say, and we do need to stand together. Because there is always different ways to do it. I'm going to
It's Lou and John that's interesting
Yes. So the first Thursday in December. Right.